So if you've got a Jeep Wrangler YJ, such as this, and your four-wheel drive light isn't working, this is the video for you. The four-wheel drive light's actually operated by the CAD, or the central axle disconnect, which is basically a vacuum actuated thing on the front axle that turns your two-piece axle shaft into a one-piece, and when that happens it trips a little switch and turns the light on in the dash. So if you have switched over to a one-piece shaft from a TJ, or maybe you've thrown a whole new front axle in your Jeep, I'm going to show you how quick and easy it is to take a different switch and install it in the transfer case itself in place of the spaghetti monster to get your light working again. So it's pretty easy to see this is no stock Jeep, and that includes this front axle. This is a Dana 44 out of a 78 F250. So obviously I no longer have the CAD, but when I did this axle swap, I never deleted all the stuff from the CAD. So what you have here is this electrical plug, which is what we're going to be modifying today, and then the old vacuum lines, which I just stuck some bolts in to seal them off. And this whole assembly runs all the way back under the battery to the transfer case. So people in the YJ community refer to that thing as the spaghetti monster. So we're actually going to strip that out of the Jeep, but we're also going to take this electrical connector, because this is what's going to turn on that light in your Jeep. It kind of goes down underneath the battery, so what we're going to do is pull it away from the front of the Jeep and turn it around and run it back to the transfer case. Let me show you what you're going to need. So this switch here is out of a Jeep TJ, which is like 97 to 06, and it screws into the transfer case on the TJ in the place of where that spaghetti monster screws in on the YJ. You can get this online for anywhere between $15 and $30. I happen to have bought Auto Parts Direct to You brand. I heard a lot of bad things about the Dorman one, where this ball didn't have enough like throw on it to activate it. So the first problem you're going to run into, these are not the same plug, and that's where the second part comes into place. Now I got this on Amazon for $11. That's the part number I use. You can also get this at AutoZone. It's Duralast 259. O'Reilly's has a version. It's basically a 2-pin weather pack, but it has the male pins instead of the females, so it's a little bit harder to come by. So check it out down below the video. I'm going to leave links to the switch and to this electrical connector. They're going to be off of Amazon. And when you purchase stuff through that link, it does help me out a little bit. I do get a small commission for that, and that helps me make these videos for you guys, so I do appreciate it. The hardest part about this ordeal is actually getting the spaghetti monster out of the transfer case in your YJ. And the reason it's hard is just kind of in a bad spot. Skid plate's in the way. Now, as I show you this, keep in mind this Jeep is super custom, so I don't have the stock skid plate. I don't even have a transmission that came in a YJ. My transfer case shifter is a Novak shifter, so like nothing's gonna look stock down here, but you'll get the idea. So if you look up here, you'll see this cluster of like 4 vacuum lines running down to a switch. That is what we have to get at. So obviously there's no way to get to it from the side because there's a giant skid plate here, which this is a Barnes 4-wheel drive skid plate. Can't really get to it through there. And you can't even hardly see it from back here because it's behind my Novak shifter. Oh man, it's freaking cold out here. So on your stock Jeep, that CAD housing would be about right here on the passenger side, and the wire would go up there. So since mine's already pulled up there, it's running along the fender, but I believe it is this one right here. It drops down in here, and it runs along and goes up and over the back of the transmission and the transfer case. So we'll just start working our way from the front back. We'll pop whatever clips are there, and that thing should be plenty long to reach back there where it goes. So let's get started. So I haven't found it yet, but at some point as these two are running together, these wires split out of this harness to go to your dash somewhere near the firewall. So when we get to that point, we're actually going to have to open this loom up and separate them, because I want to completely eliminate the vacuum lines, but then keep the wire and run it back. So also for you older YJ guys, the 87 through 90s, they actually had a different switch from what I understand, and it's underneath the battery, and it's controlled by that same vacuum spaghetti monster. It's just, instead of being an electric switch, it's a vacuum powered switch that also has a plug that runs up to your dash. Basically you need the same parts, you just got to get your leads from a different spot. So as we follow this back, you'll see right down there that there's a clip on the fender, and right past that is actually where the wire comes out and goes to this plug, and then there's an electrical loom that comes up somewhere. So that's where we're gonna disconnect the wire from the spaghetti monster. So I don't know if this is going to be long enough. I think it should make it back there, but what I do know is it's a whole lot easier to do my wiring when it's up here and easy to reach than it will be if I run it down there to where it goes. So let's do that real quick. So it doesn't matter which wire goes to which wire, because it's literally just basically bridging a connection. It's like when you shift, it's basically like touching them together. It's closing a circuit that turns the light on. Get these babies stripped. I'm gonna cut this one off. Since this is going to be under the vehicle, I highly recommend using heat shrink if you got it. I just happen to have this kit of butt connectors with heat shrink built right in. This whole kit was maybe $12 on Amazon, something like that. I'll leave a link to that down below. These things are super handy. If this whole setup ends up being too long by the time I get down there, I can always just kind of loop up the excess and zip tie it up out of the way. If it ends up being too short, well then I'm gonna have to make another cut somewhere and extend it, which is easy enough to do. I always like to give these a little tug too, just to make sure that you got a good crimp on them, and we did. So just to make sure this stays protected, I'm gonna add a little bit of wire loom to it. Now, if you don't have any of this, which you can get it pretty much anywhere, you can finish stripping the spaghetti monster out of here and then pull this old loom off of here and use that. Before I waste too much time running that back there, what I did was I stuck a jumper wire in there, and we're gonna go turn the key on and make sure that light comes on. Make sure that this wire and everything associated with it still works. So we're just gonna switch to on position. Now my Jeep's kind of the bastard year. It's a 91, so it was like the changeover year from the 87 to 90 stuff and the 92 to 95 stuff, so it has a little bit of both. So the 87 through 90 and even the 91 have it right here on the dash. But 92 and newer, your four-wheel drive light is right here in this first gauge, and you don't get the clock. Let me tell you, that clock's the only one that never lets me down. This is how you know that it's been way too freaking windy. Look, a freaking foot of snow in here. Alright, so now from underneath, this is where we're at so far. You can see right there, there's another split in the loom, and that goes up, and that's where the vacuum lines go up and actually get vacuum from the engine. In theory, I could just leave all that stuff there and just pull this back. But I'm gonna go ahead and remove all of this stuff out of here. So I do need to chase that guy up and find where it's plugged in and get that capped off and everything. So that guy comes up right here in this loom, and there's this one that pokes out and just has that, so I'm assuming that's just a vent, and then the other half of it goes to that, which I'm assuming is some kind of a check valve. Holy moly, that don't want to come off of there. Oh man, I really need to clean up this wiring and shit. Alright, so there's that. Drop that down through and she's free. Let's see if I can't pull this off of here. Let's just go right here. And there she is. It's all going to the garbage. So now back to that one that was on the firewall. It had this check valve on it, and it just runs over here and tees out of the top of this vacuum connection. So I need to find either a plug for this or just an elbow for that and get rid of this altogether. So at least on the 4.0, that's where it goes, out the top of this one. I think what I'm gonna do here is just pull that off of there, take this black hose, and stick that on here. Oh, it won't fit, it's too big.
That's what she said.
Try the orange one. Well, for now, I just took that orange one and just sent that one in there straight in. However, it's kind of flimsy, so I got to come up with something better. I do recommend hanging on to this guy though, because you never know when one of these other vacuum tubes on here is going to go bad, and then you got this one as a spare. So to get the vacuum switch out of the transfer case, you need a 1 1/16 socket. If you don't have that, you can get it with an open-end wrench. It's really hard to see. I've already got a socket sitting on it. Well, we'll see if we can even break it free at this weird of an angle. My socket is slipping on it, which sucks. So you're gonna want a 6-point socket for this. I have a 12-point and it was just rounding on it. So I found my 6-point was a short well. It wouldn't fit down onto there because of the 4 little vacuum tubes. So I just busted those off because they're just 30-year-old plastic. And then I was able to get this shorter 1 1/16 6-point on there and got it cracked loose. And that thing was pretty tight. So once you break it free, it pretty much threads right out by hand. And I just had to break those little 4 tubes off of there, which I literally just grabbed them with channel locks and squeezed, and they all just flew off of there. So now to replace it, this guy takes a 7/8. One more quick point. Make sure you get the O-ring on this. So this particular one came with one, but I've heard some of them don't. You just kind of got to feel around until you find it. And now the 7/8 socket. Oh, my battery's dying. And now that that other stuff's out of the way, it's pretty easy. All I got left is to run this back there, plug it in, throw a couple zip ties on there, and we're going to give her a test. It's looking like this thing's going to be plenty long enough. So we're just going to shoot her up and over the top here. So it is back behind this shifter, and I want to make sure it doesn't get tangled in there. Oh yeah, she's plenty long enough. There, she's all plugged in, so now I just gotta tie this down in a few spots and make sure it's not gonna rub on anything it shouldn't. And it comes right up and over here, like I don't want to get in on the exhaust and stuff. Alright, let's go for the moment of truth here. I'm still in 2-wheel drive. We're gonna do a little shift here. Oh, there she goes. That's neutral. Let's see if I can hit 4 low without it running. Yep, it's 4 low, neutral. 4 high, and back to 2-wheel drive. Well, that was a super easy project, 30 bucks and about an hour's worth of my time. I got that light working again, so that is awesome. And don't forget, I'll leave links down below the video to the correct switch and pigtail. They are a little bit hard to find, so that should help you guys out. And if you guys are new here and you want to see more Jeep YJ videos, this is a place for you. Hit that subscribe button and throw me a thumbs up while you're at it. Oftentimes the videos I make come from you guys commenting down below and saying, hey, can you make a video about this or that or whatever. Most recently, everybody wants a video about my AW4 swap that I did on here, so maybe I'll make a video about that. But I love interacting with you guys, and I love answering as many questions as I can. Thanks for watching this one, and I'll see you in the next one.